Hello, Master Yap. Thank you for joining us for another video. We're here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. We've just completed a 5-day Yan Shou Gong workshop. This was a 5-day intensive workshop going through the first 2 stages of the internal martial arts. The first 2 of 5 stages.
Yes.
And there was around 16 people that attended, was that right?
Yeah, 16, yes.
16 people from around the world that traveled here to Chiang Mai. We covered the first 6 forms of Yan Shou Gong, going into the choreography of the forms, plus all the internal details and all the things that are hidden inside the forms.
Yeah.
How was the workshop? How did it go?
Okay, yeah, as I mentioned, in these 5 days, what we did was sort of combine a stage 1 workshop and a stage 2 workshop. Let me explain a bit of what I mean by the stages. Those of you, who have heard it before, please bear with me. So this comes from our concept of the 5 stages of learning internals, right? The first stage is to learn the forms correctly, because if you do the correct movements, the movements will activate and connect the different internal structures within your body, meaning the fascia, the tendons, and the muscles, and get them to work together. So the first stage is to sort of do the movements to try and connect the different parts. Stage 2 then is about awareness of what's happening inside the body when you go into a certain posture or when you do a certain movement, to feel what is moving inside. And then once you can feel and you're aware or mindful about what is happening inside, then the third stage is you learn to control those components of the body. And once you can control it, then you can learn to generate and direct the energy. And that's the 4th stage. And then finally, the 5th stage is to use the internal energy to move your arms and your legs or your body instead of using pure muscular action. Of course, you still do use muscles, but you're using more of the internal energy. So this falls back into the old classical model where the teacher will say, first, to learn internals, first you use the outside to move the inside, which is stage 1, and then you use the insides to move the outside, which is stage 5, you see. But stage 2, 3, and 4 is not that clearly defined. But this is what we're trying to do. We provide the stage 2, 3, and 4, which then leads you to using the inside to move the outside. So the stage 2 course is actually aimed at students who are already familiar with the forms. And I think when I say familiar, it means you can do the forms without having to think, oh, what comes after this, what comes after that, right? So that your concentration don't have to be in the position and all that, the movement of your arms, but you can turn your concentration inside, you see, and focus on what's happening in the body. How's the weight shifting? Is my weight on my toes? Am I using, my strings and so on, you see? So by putting that awareness inside, you begin to feel the different parts of the body moving. Then also, in the stage 2 sort of a seminar, workshop, you will work with a partner and usually an instructor who would sort of give you light pressure to give, so that with that pressure or resistance, you can feel the internal parts of your body better. But more than that, instead of just the physical pressure, a well-trained or a higher level instructor can actually project his E and help the person who's learning to feel and to guide his energy, you see. So that part of the touching, where you have the touch of hands and the gentle guidance and resistance, really help you to develop the awareness of one's own body, okay? And in this recent workshop, we actually seen the transformation, that the students got, right? They really received the, you can say, a light bulb moment. They say, aha, this is what it feels like. Because through the stage 2 seminars and workshops, we actually create the experience. And through that experience, the student can then relate better to the concepts. Otherwise, concepts are just theory, you see. So we get them to feel, sometimes it's to feel the force, sometimes to feel the energy moving, right? And once they can do that, even though they cannot get the mechanism and repeat it themselves, but they can remember the experience, and the experience acts as a goal, we call it a landmark, right? That you can aim towards as you practice, you see. So when you do your practice, you know what to aim for. And I think that's a very important part of the learning process. So hence the stage 2 workshops are aimed for that purpose. It's for people who are already familiar with the form. And it is particularly suitable for those who have done the online course. This will really take them to the next stage. And I think for those who've been through this current workshop and the several ones before, which have run in Europe, they actually experience it. And once they've gone through the stage 2 and they are familiar with it and they can repeat the process themselves, then we will start conducting a stage 3 workshop, which will be even more interesting, because then that teaches them how to, control their own internal structures and generate the Qing, the Yi, or the Qi, depending on the situation. So that part would be really start them on the road of using and applying the internals. So the stage 2 is, you can say, the first most important step that you can take. And we want to emphasize that. And that's the difference between the stage 2 and the stage 1. So in the stage 1, where the purpose is to learn the forms and to be familiar with the forms, it's kind of time consuming to travel all the way to attend a workshop, in a distant place and spend time just going through the movements, you see. I believe that time is better spent online, you can learn the forms, such that when you actually come to a workshop, you can then be guided, by senior instructors who can actually bring you to the next level. The touching of hands is the big difference between the stage 2 and the stage 1. In stage 1, to learn the forms, you don't really need to touch hands. But in the stage 2, then yes, you need to touch hands, you need the active resistance, you need the instructor to guide you, to have that direct transmission so that it can take you to the next stage. And furthermore, even though, in the stage 2, we try to feel the internals, we will also guide you to correct your forms. You see, sometimes when you learn from the video, certain positions may not be as precise as it should be. But during the stage 2, when we correct your positions and we give you the active resistance, then you can actually feel, that certain angles can make big difference in the way you feel energy and so on, you see. So that is the purpose of the stage 2. Yeah. And I hope that, more people will attend this, because those who have attended it can certainly benefit from it.
Absolutely. You raise a very interesting point there about training or learning martial arts online, because there's a stigma from people that they're not aware that actually through our testing that we've done with the online course during COVID, that this is actually proving to be a very efficient way of learning.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, you learn the forms online.
Yep.
You get access to the initial information, and then if you attend a workshop later, there's so many benefits that arise from learning in this manner. And because you have access to rewatch the videos over and over and over again, you become very, very familiar with the movements before you attend the workshop. And it's proving to be very effective, actually.
Yeah. And also the videos, with the martial man courses, it's a lifelong subscription, right? Once you pay for it, it's there.
That's right.
So the videos actually become a reference source, you see. So should you forget certain moves and all that, we can always refer back to the video. I think that's definitely a good thing, really.
Yeah, which you don't normally get at workshops, because if you forget the movement or you get it incorrect, then you're stuck at that point once you leave the workshop. But that's not the case with the online learning.
Yeah, so the combination of the online with the live workshops, I think is a big change in the way you can improve the learning process. And I think it's also a shortcut, So if you arrive at the workshop when you're already familiar with the movements, then you can straight away go into a deep dive, onto the forms, the sets, and the internals, you see, without having to sort of cover the earlier details, right? So you can do a deep dive, and that cuts the process of learning much shorter. So I think this is the most effective combination that I've come across in my more than 10 years of teaching, Qigong as well as martial arts, right? Yeah, that this combination of online and live seminars really go well together. And since this is only stage 2, then when we go to the stage 3, then we can bring the students even further.
Yes. So you mentioned about stage 3. Is that the plan for the future, that you're going to be doing more workshops?
I think once we have a sufficient critical mass of students who've done the stage 2, then we'll start with the stage 3. And I'm thinking maybe as early as the end of the year or beginning of next year, we can start the stage 3 courses or seminars.
That's great. And for those people that are looking to find out more information about the courses in the future, they should go to your website, yansaogong.org, is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So we have a website up already. So all our programs are on yanshaogong.org, one word, yeah, .org. Scroll down to where you see workshops and seminars, and all the seminars are listed there. And you can even register online. Yeah. And perhaps maybe we'll have a few simple demos to show you, exactly what we do in the Stage 2 courses. They will give you a better appreciation of that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk of that's how we do it. Okay. What we do in the Stage 2 sort of Yan Shou Gong course is we run through each of the movements, and we teach the student how to feel and set up their movements and correct their movements. Let's take this very simple movement, for example, right? In the first form, where after we do this, and then you turn, and then you take a bow, right? Yeah. And this looks like a very simple movement, but actually, this helps you to develop your sinking chi, and how to put the the intentions at the tips of the fingers, and direct the energy down. So, for example, if Kiran is a student, so yeah, you end up, yeah. So the correct position will be to line up with the elbows with the strings, turn your palm down so that you line it up, and just relax, yeah, straighten up the spine. Now, you see, through, guidance, so what we'll do is give him a slight pressure here. Now, this will push you back onto your back strings, right? So you feel, yeah, your weight will be on your heels. So now bend your knees a bit. Now straighten up, see, your strings will rise. Now roll your shoulder forward a bit. Yeah, that's right. See, now you can feel the weight in your fingers.
Yes.
Now start bending the spine, but keep your head in alignment. So start bending from the spine. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you do that, let's say I'm holding you tight, go. Yeah, see? Yeah. So you're developing that sinking chi from your spine and directing it to my fingers. Okay? So you see, even though I use both hands and try to lever you up, you just press on your heel and then your toes. You see, I can't, right? And even if I do that, see, you're all sinking, right? So that's one of the ways we guide you. And then now we start with this movement, right? In the Yan Shou Gong number 1. Yeah, go on. Yeah, you put up your arms. Now you see, this is where minor adjustment in positions can make a big difference, you see. So a common mistake is, see, this is coming up front, right? Secondly, these are not quite aligned. Your wrists should be flat here, right? Now, it doesn't matter. So what we'll say is, now, do it the wrong way, you see. Now, if your shoulders are not set and your wrists are not aligned, if I just push on this, you see, the energy doesn't sink down. Yes. Now, roll back your shoulders, right? Okay? And just don't set this first. Now, feel the difference. At least now the energy is going down, right? But it's still not perfect yet. Now you adjust this. So there. So when you keep this flat, you feel the difference. Everything gets grounded, you see?
Yes.
So imagine from the bad position, you slowly transition to the strong position, and you feel what happens in the body.
Okay, so it feels like my shoulders are fighting the force now.
Yeah. So as
roll
you
back the shoulders,
so
it's
you
going
sink
down.
Then you flatten your wrists.
Now
there.
everything's going to the ground.
Right?
Yes.
And not only that, yeah, you feel that my energy is being reflected back at me. So this is where minor adjustments sort of realigns your internal structures so that whatever energy I give to him, right, goes back to me. And if you really want to return energy, just extend your fingers, you see. Bang. I go backwards, you know. So this is what we do in the Stage 2 course, by slightly correcting your postures and also redirecting how you align your body. Then what do you feel? You feel that
you can feel a difference straight away.
Yeah.
One of them is using the muscles to brace, and
Yeah.
the other one is going all the way down to the
it's
ground.
sinking all the way down, you see. So let's continue with that turning, right? Let's say, the next move is to go to your left, right? Which is that side, So if you were to just turn with the normal way is your hips and your shoulders, it's not going to work,
I feel
right?
stuck.
Yeah, especially if I'm in a stance like that. But now, let's say first you align your strings. So when we turn here, you will use your toes on this side and your heels on that side. So that engages your front string here, your back string here. And that gives you okay, the power here in your shoulders, you see. So if I hold you here and you use your toes and your heels, go on. Yeah, see? It lifts my feet straight away. It takes my root immediately. But the next thing you need to do is connect the arms, because if your arms are not connected, the power doesn't come to these points, you see, right? It's stuck. So this is where, you roll back your shoulder. Now you have to connect your front strings to your elbows. Yeah, bringing that in, turn. And now you stretch these two fingers and you feel, right? Now this point connects to here through the elbow, down, down, right? We do the same for the back string. So you step on your heel, let it come up, roll back the shoulder a bit, relax your shoulder, breathe out. See, now it comes to the elbow and point your thumb out. See? So now you have connected your back string by the shoulder down here to this side. So now even if I do this, you just point your thumbs and stretch your fingers here and go. Right? And straight away you can feel the energy shoot up, right?
Yeah, you can feel it coming through the hands.
Yeah. So this is what we do in the stage 2, you see. And by doing this, we help to fine-tune not only the form, but make the student feel what is happening inside. And that gives them the experience. And once they have the experience, with more practice, they actually then develop the skills. So this is what we do in the stage 2, and which is not possible to do on the video at all, right? So that's why it's important to be able to touch hands and feel it. And then, of course, with the proper guidance, then yeah, you begin to get it, so to speak. You begin to develop your internal structures. And I think that is the most important thing that we do in the stage 2 course, yeah? And the objective is to be aware of your internals, right? So now through this, yeah, you can feel your strings more clearly.
Yes.
And you can feel how the different parts of the body get connected, right? And how you can then transmit energy.
Yes, and I can also fault find and see where the errors are. So I know when the energy is not coming through the arms, I know I need to set the shoulders, extend the fingers.
That's right,
so
yeah. So for example, see, if you do this again, yeah. So if your shoulders are wrong, so I can give you slight pressure. I can actually guide you with my E to say, okay, put it back, there, sink, there, see? So now that's connected. So yeah, see? It goes straight away, right? So that is the sort of guidance that is the intrinsic part of the stage 2 course, all right? So thank you.